Dulu.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In here, we from the group 4 want to explain you about the ethical and social issue in information system. Before we jump into the subject itself, this group is contained by the Markawinda Surakusuma myself and myself, Arke Satrianugra, and Said Muhammad Al Farouk. Next. And before we jump into the subject, I want to explain you upon the ethical issue that facing the use of technology itself for the age community or the elder community, especially this issue that happened on the Australia. The Australian government itself is take a strong interest in the use of the information technology for the direct and indirect care of the age community or the elderly community. The indirect care include the administrative aspect of aged care in nursing and aged care communities. Note the IT itself is the potential to improve the quality of lifestyle for the aged or the elderly community. Especially the quality of lifestyle is the healthier of the body itself. The first technology that meets the Australian government interest is the called by Smart House. This technology is using on the Sydney, and the technology is designed to allow future generation to remain in their own homes while aging or the facing the elderly, facing the elderly. And the second technology is called by the telecare. This is the sensor technology that include the passive infrared detector and door entry system, which will allow the resident to see who is the behind the door via their TV, via their gadget or tablet or laptop, and they can open or close the door via their gadget, via their laptop and tablet itself. And this is the technology also have feature emergency pendant and pull cord to trigger an emergency monitoring system along with the bed and chair sensor. A recurring ethical issue in the use of the such technology before that is invasion of the each consumer or the elderly consumer privacy itself. Many consumer feel uncomfortable about being monitored in their own homes, especially the 24-hour for each day. Even though they may see the benefit of the such a system or such the information technology itself. And there's also the question of awareness, consent, ownership, and access of any data that collected from this elderly consumer itself. Uh, and then based on the problem and issue that I explained before, they can make the management needs to create an acceptable trade-off through the creation of appropriate policies and standard as agreed upon by all the stakeholder and the prior to system implementation. Okay, next. And this is another ethical issue that facing on the use of technology itself. Probably you familiar upon this the big store that that we saw on you. And the first one on the right, the left picture. This is the technology that used on your gadget and on your laptop or tablet that called by the face recognition. This technology is to try to, to try recognize your face to make your gesture or your face some security like to unlock your gadget itself. And the right picture, this is some device that developed by Alexa. This technology is like Google Speech or the I I forgot about the name on the iOS system, but some consumer feel have some paradigma like they can the device monitor the speed this. And for the face recognition, most of the consumer have worry about the privacy because the some masalah yang terkadang that sell their privacy or they sell their gesture of their face on another agency itself. And next, and after that, I want we jump into the main main explanation. There are three sub-chapter on this chapter. The first one is to understanding ethical and social issue related to the system itself. Next. Before that, on this chapter, describe the ethic itself is some principle of the right and wrong that individual and acting as a free moral agent and used to make the choice to quit their behavior itself. And this is some recent example of ethical judgment by the center manager that happened recently happened. There are several problems like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 problem that explain on the book itself. Yeah, probably you can read by yourself on the table 4.1, and there are various ethical issues that conduct that should be done in some company or some firm. So that all the employees, manager, and another significant political could be synergies and work well. Yeah, and nowadays, based on the book, the individual are taking more responsibility to their personal ethical behavior instead the world firm itself or the company itself. Next, and this is some pie diagram that include the 5 moral dimensions of the information age. But in this subchapter, I just want to memperkenalkan about this pie diagram. But probably on the last chapter, we can deeply know about this diagram itself. And based on this diagram, there are several dimensions. And the first dimension is information right and application. The second one is the property right and application. And the third is accountability and control. And the fourth, system quality. And the last one is the quality of life itself. Next. And this is the key technology trend that raise ethical issue. And then in nowadays there are also 5 new trend in result of the advancing key information technology or IT. Each trend has our impact. The first one, the computing power double every 18 months. This trend have some impact to increasing of our dependence to the computer system. And the second one is about the data storage cost decline. This trend have some impact upon the ease of information collecting from the individual. And the third one is about the data analysis advance. This trend have some impact to lead to the ability of combining small information from numerous sources by using computer. By using computer, this small information will then provide a detailed information about someone or the individual, and based on this book, they call it about the profiling. The fourth one is networking advance. This trend is made the how to control the data assets itself. And the last one is about the mobile device growth impact. Probably almost on the society, almost all of the people have some mobile device or the gadget. And this trend is have impacts allow the gadget itself or the cell phone to be easily to track like that. And and other than that, there are some method that used by some firm or some company that they call it the choice point method. This method is simply a way to help you and your client to keep track. And and based on this book, the company sell this personal information to the business and government agencies. The demand itself for personal data is so enormous that data broker business, such as the choice point, are flourishing. And in 2011, Visa and Mastercard, probably you're familiar about the Visa and Mastercard. This is the company that work in the credit card. They're planning to link credit card purchase information with consumer social network and other information to create a customer profile that could be sold to advertising firm. And other than that, in 2012, the Visa processed more than 45 billion transactions for each year, and then the Mastercard itself processed more than 23 billion transactions for each year, like that. Next. And this is a new data analysis technology called by non-obvious relationship awareness, or the NORA. Uh, this technology has given both the government and the private sector even more powerful uh, profiling capabilities. And this technology, or the NORA itself, can take information about some people or someone from many disparate sources, such as the employment application, telephone record, customer listing, and etc. And correlate all the information with some relationship to find obscure hidden connection that might help identify criminal and uh, terrorist problem. Probably you can see on this feature 4.2, the NORA itself uh, got some information about the on the watch list incident uh, and not and etc. To and the NORA itself, the system is uh, uh, mengolah semua hal itu to be some NORA alert like that. And next.
So, ethical is an information society. Ethics is a concern of human who have freedom of choice. Ethics is about individual choice when faced with alternative courses of action. What is the correction moral choice? Next. Okay, this is the basic concept. So ethical choices are decisions made by individuals who are responsible for the consequence of their action. Responsibility is a key element of ethical action. So responsibility means that you accept the potential cost, dues, and obligation for the decision you make. The second is accountability. Accountability is a feature of system and social institution. It means that mechanisms are in place to determine who took responsible action and who is responsible. System and institution in which it is impossible to find out who took what action are inherently incapability of the ethical analysis of or ethical action. So, liability extend the concept of responsibility feature to the further to the area of law. Liability is a feature of political system in which a body of law is in place that permit individual to recover the damages done to them by other action system or organization. This basic concept from the underpinning of the ethical analysis of of information system. Next. Okay, this is ethical analysis. So we have 5 analysis, but in the PPT we forget to put one step. So when confronted with a situation that seems to present ethical issue, how should you analyze it? First is identify and describe the fact clearly. Find out who did what to whom and where, when, and how. In my intention, you will be surprised at the error in the integrity report fact, and often you will find the simple getting the fact strength help define the solution. The second is define the conflict or dilemma and identify the higher order value inflow. Ethical, social, and political issues always reference higher values. The parties to a debate or claim to be pursuing higher value. Example, freedom, privacy, protection of property, and the free enterprise system. Typical and ethical issue improves and dilemma to diametrical opposite courses of action that support worthwhile value. For example, the chapter ending case study illustrates two competing value: the need to improve healthcare record keeping and the need to protect individual privacy. The third step analysis is identify the stakeholder. So every ethical, social, and political issue has stakeholder players in the game who have an interest in the outcome, who have invest in the solution, and usually who have vocal opinions. Find out the identity of this group and what they want. This will be useful later when designing a solution. Identify the option that you can reasonable take. You might find that none of the options satisfy all the interest influence, but that someone option do a better job than others. Sometimes arriving at a good or ethical solution might not always be a balancing of consequence to stakeholder. The 5 analyze is identify the potential consequence your option. Some option might be ethically correct, but distrust from other point of view. Other option might work in one instant, but not in other similar instant. Always ask yourself, what if I choose this option consistently over time? Next slide. Okay. This is a candidate ethical principle. So you can read, we have 6 principles. The first is uh, putting yourself into the place of other and thinking of yourself as the object of the this decision can help you think about fairness in decision making. The second principle is ask yourself, if everyone did this, could the organization or society survive? The third principle is this is the Slimpy and slow rule. An action might bring about a small change, no that is acceptable, but it is repeated. It would bring unacceptable change in the long run. In the Fresnel, it may be star as or star down a slippery part you may not be able to stop. The fourth principle is this rule assume you can prioritize value in a rank order and understand the consequence of variation courses of action. The five principle, some action have extremely high failure cost of very low probability. For example, building a nuclear generating facility in a urban area or ascent or extremely higher value cost of moderate probability spending an automobile accident of this higher value cost action paying greater attention to higher value cost potential of moderate to higher probability. The sixth principle is this is the ethical no freelance rule. If something someone else has created is useful to you, it has value and you should assume the creator wants compensation for this work. Actions that do not easily pass this rule deserve close attention and a great deal of question. Yeah. The appraise of unethical behavior may do as much harm to you and your company as actually unethical behavior. Next slide. So this is professional codes of conduct. This is when group of people claim to be professional, they take on special right and obligation because of their special claim to knowledge, wisdom, and respect. Professional codes of conduct are promulgated by association of professionals such as the American Medical Association, blah 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 blah. So this professional group take responsibility for this particular regulation of their professional by determine interest, qualification, and competence. The conducts of ethics are promised by professionals to regulate themselves in the general interest of society. For example, finding harm to others, honoring property rights, including intellectual property, and respecting privacy are among the general moral imperatives of the Code of Ethics and Professional Conducts. Next. So some real world ethical dilemma. So this is we have three example. So for the example, information system have create new ethical dilemma in which one set of interest in fighting against another. It is intense. You can find competing value at work with group line up on either side of a debate. A company might argue, for example, that it has right to use information system to increase productivity and reduce the size of its workforce to lower costs and stay in business. Employees displaced by information system might argue that employers have some responsibility for their welfare. Being business owner might feel obligation to monitor employee email and internet use to minimize drain of productivity. Try to apply some of the principle of ethical analysis described to each of these case. What is the right thing to do? Next slide.
Okay, then the next slide we want to enter the moral dimension of information system. And the first moral dimension of informational system actually we take on privacy is the in order on in the word privacy is the claim of individual to be left alone, free from surveillance or interference from other individual or organization, including the state. Then when we want to make a simple, privacy is something that you want to another knowing about you, and you don't want to another person disturbing you. And after that, many country have to privacy protection like United States, Canada, and German. But very in every country is an variety of different ways to make a privacy itself. And in Indonesia itself, in our country, we have preparing for the privacy what privacy protection for the information and the people in internet age. And most of the uh, United States and Europe, the privacy law is based on a regimen called Fair Information Participant, and this is the what the privacy that Europe based on it. And if fair information practice or we can call FIP principle are based on the nation interest between the record holder and the individual. And information gathering in some transaction, we know some information is gathering from the individual, what is the interest from him, and recorded, and it can be supporting and for another activity. But if we have a privacy, this information is can be not to use supporting another activity, because that if we have a marketplace and we buying something else, we don't want to another know about that. This is our privacy. And if the another person by herself or taking a recording or another way, that is can interrupt to the break for the what privacy itself. And after that, and Federal Trade Commission listed and attached the original FIP to profit guideline for protection on privacy. And Federal Trade Commission give more knowledge or more information to the original of FIP to the protect to make some regulation to protect their privacy itself. And this is the 5 principle of FTC. The first is notice and awareness. This is the disclose their purpose for collecting data, including user data, taking data to protect confidently, integrity, and quality of the data. And the second list is choice or consent. The collector data must get the permission from the customer about their information, so use for what and with whom the data will be shared. And the third is access and participant. The customer can access their data collected and review it. And the fourth, security. The data collector taking responsibility for the data customer, even from their secret and accurate from unauthorized use. And the last is information. The data must give the place for mechanism to doing FLP principles, like in the chapter 4.1 said that for five principle that we more knowledge about is this: notice, awareness, notice, choice, access, security, and enforcement. And from this five principle FTC, we know that privacy is have been regulate or have a policy and have been with the country make it or regulate it. And then is this in more complex? In the Europe, the privacy is very strengthened than the other place. And sometimes when we in Indonesia itself or in the other company that the buyer or the who have the website can take and collect the data for the customer itself, and and that can be collected and can be analyzed for their profit. And in Europe, this privacy or this data should not be collected and should not be analyzed before the data having the customer data accepting to make the data to analyze or collecting with the company. And in this is a case for the privacy. In July 1998, the U.S. Congress passed to the Children Online Privacy Protect Act on COPPA to make permission before collecting information on children under 13 years old. And this is US for make the privacy more correctly and more deeply, because the children under the age of 30 have a permission for collecting data. Then every single people have a privacy in this era. And then we get the internet challenging to privacy. In internet internet age, information sent over one network to the other network pass through many different computer systems before that is reached in the final destination. And each of the system is capable to monitoring, capturing, and storing communication. Then in Internet X, the information is flow about many of network. Then because this flowing for the information, the system can to monitor and capture and storing the communication about this information. And like we know that or the easy one monitoring, and the other this included to the cookies, or in the web browser website there are many cookies for our history to browsing in another website. And this cookies is not collected in the internet itself, but the cookies is saved in the our hard drive, our computer hard drive. And when we open the website, then the hardware our cookies in hard drive should be giving information to the internet or the website. This is the how the cookies identify the web visitor. From this picture, we can know about the this Windows. He entered the email to the server, and server gives the cookies to the computer, and then he buying something from the server, and then the server giving back to the because the server have a cookies and giving to the hard drive, then the server knowing that he backing again to the server. For the example, when we buying something in the e-commerce like Amazon or Tokopedia or Bukalapak or the other, after we enter and looking something that we want to buy, if we open it again, we get the suggestion for the Bukalapak or Tokopedia itself, and then this is make a showcase for the website